Hey, hello, my sacred friend. I am Lori Andros, and welcome to this episode of the Meet Me in Sacred Space podcast. Today, we are going to talk about amplifying our light. Yeah, I want to invite you as we just open up that topic to just drop within and let yourself just feel the energy and the essence of what it means for you to amplify your inner light, to let it shine brightly in the world. Lots of things can pop up when we just tune into that phrase, when we just tune into that essence and invite ourselves to do that, to shine, to amplify our light. Yeah, many things can come up. We can look at our relationship to being seen. We can, things around safety, security, fears, doubts, all of those pieces come up and come to the surface. And in the process, one of the things that many of us actually do when we tap into or attune to that idea of allowing our inner light to be just expansive and brilliant is that we begin to actually instead retreat. And we retreat by creating layers of boundaries and protection and separation in our world. Yeah. This is a challenge that I know intimately. It's one that I think has actually been a really central part of my life experience, my life journey. And it's something that, for me, over the years, I've really dug into understanding different layers of why, how, when they're needed, when they're best to have, when it's good to set, clear, when and how it's good to set crystal clear boundaries and have a healthy relationship with that. And a couple of years ago, I had an experience where, oh my goodness, something really profound happened in my life. And I just had this insight, this message from Spirit that it was important to me. It was important for me to drop all of the layers of protection that I had created. I had all these beautiful layers around my world that were incredible. And what happened as I did that, I one by one dismantled all of these layers of protection. And as I dismantled them, I found myself going on a journey really deep within. Now, by that point, I had done shamanic work for well over a decade. I thought I really kind of had a handle on understanding what it meant to go deep. And here I was going deeper than I had ever gone. And in many ways, I felt like much of what I dismantled in protection and boundaries and kind of this overkill of boundaries was an opportunity to also dismantle the stories and the beliefs that were also connected with those, and some of the things that I maybe had never really dealt with, that I hadn't quite looked at. So all of this began to kind of break down in my world, and I really had an opportunity to understand new and healthy and really meaningful ways to establish boundaries in my life. And what I noticed in that process was that some really amazing and dynamic and healthy relationships emerged through that process. And old relationships that had even fallen apart or fallen away began to re-emerge, began to come together again in ways that felt inspiring and beyond what I would have otherwise expected, beyond what I was available for before. So I kind of had felt like I hit this role of I really know my boundaries. I kind of had this feel yeah, I'm in a good relationship with them. They feel good. I understand this. I feel really great. And then this summer, I feel like I just met and confronted a whole new layer of boundaries and protection and that energy. It was like it was up, and it was so strongly up. Now, I think that on a collective level, this is part of the narrative that we're moving through. We're moving through this story around boundaries and protection in an effort to collectively break down and establish new and healthy and meaningful relationships. We're in a year that is all about relationships. And this year that's about really uniting with like heart connections and spiritual community and other types of community that are meaningful for us. Part of being able to be available for that is dismantling the unhealthy ways that we've related to boundaries and protection, and the ways that we've hidden our energy and hidden our light, and breaking them down and opening up space so that we can come together in amazing ways. So up on the collective level, but on a personal level, I was also discovering that this was really up for me. And it was something that I was having to navigate in a different way than what I had before. And it was really challenging for me. And in many ways, I wasn't really sure exactly what to do. There were many points where I was kind of like, I just don't even know what to do. But I got one really clear and consistent thing that showed up throughout the summer. This clear and consistent thing that showed up throughout the summer was that every time I would go out for a walk, I would find a piece of copper. I know it sounds kind of weird, but up in the forest, up in northern Michigan, that is one time there were many copper mines, and the gravel that's used on roads is some of the old base rock, and it tends to have pieces that are of copper that are left within there, and so they land on the driveway. Well, anyway, I was finding pieces of copper, beautiful, simple little pieces, and they would just show up as I was out for a walk. And I'd carry them with me, and I would get curious about what it was that they were wanting to share. Why were they showing up in such an abundant way? Now, there are many layers to the messages that they shared, and there are reasons for why they're showing up right now, and what the wisdom is and how they're supporting us on a collective level. But when I tuned in from the place of how do I navigate this challenge that I'm having with boundaries and with a particular relationship, how do I navigate this? The copper would reply with, amplify your light. And that got me really curious. It got me really in the place of curiosity, exploration of, well, what am I really actually doing when I'm feeling confronted with this experience? What am I really doing? And what I began to realize was that I was actually retreating within. I was drawing my energy smaller. I was hiding my energy. I was hiding myself. I wasn't allowing myself to be fully seen, fully expressed. And ultimately, when I look back even further, that is the challenge that I was dancing, was how do I allow myself to be fully expressed, to be fully seen, to be fully present in all areas of life. Now, this piece about being fully present, it sounds so simple, right? It truly does. And in many ways, it is. It's really simple. But very often when we are confronted with difficult situations, when trauma is triggered or re-engaged, one of the things that happens is that our energy actually separates and disengages from being fully present, from being right here, right now, in the moment. And so what I had an opportunity to do, and what I feel like Copper is inviting not just myself, but the collective to have an awareness around and really bring a focused level of attention and awareness to, is amplifying our light. Now, copper is conductive. It will amplify any current that is in motion. Any like light energy that we have, it will amplify it with us. It's like an amazing, amazing ally for that. Absolutely amazing. And it really is inviting us to tune into those places where we do retreat and to instead fully come into the place of presence. So I have a couple notes here that I just want to tap into before we go any further. And so the piece that it shared here was, around how do we, so when I asked the question of how do we amplify our light? What is the kind of pathway for doing that? Like, how do we do that? Well, the first thing is to begin to notice what happens when we feel like our boundaries are being pressed. So I want to invite you to just kind of take a moment and consider that. What happens for you when you notice that boundaries are being pressed in your life? What do you do? Do you kind of puff up? Do you shrink back? Do you walk away? Do you disconnect? What happens for you? This would be a great thing to spend a bit of time observing, and to even spend a bit of time journaling and reflecting on. Now, for me, over the summer, this was something I just really began paying attention to. Like, where did my energy kind of become forceful? Where did an old story get engaged? And where did I find my emotions becoming strong and forceful in their own way? So pay attention physically, emotionally, and spiritually. What happens on all of those levels? What are the ways that you respond? Yeah. And then the next thing to pay attention to is to become clear. Like, are boundaries something that is new for you to begin working with? Or is it something that you have been working with for a very long time? I think sometimes when we're new to working with boundaries, we need to actually enact them. We need to spend time getting to know what that means to have healthy boundaries in our relationships. We need to spend time getting to know what do we need as an individual to feel nourished, to feel safe, to feel supported, to feel held. Now, this is something I spent, well over a decade consciously working on, probably close to 20 years consciously working with. And so I have a really clear sense of what is important to me and what is important in my relationships. That's a really clear thing for me. And so if you're not clear on that, spend time getting clear on that. What's healthy for you? And be okay with knowing that can shift and change and evolve and change over time as you dig deeper, as you embark on your healing journey, as you move forward. Now, if you're a person who has been on a spiritual path and you've been working boundaries for a long time, you already have a sense. You already have a sense of what that looks like for you to have healthy relationships. When boundaries and protections really are a good, solid fit for you. And you're ready to really, really get into the nitty-gritty of what allows you to amplify your light. So the answer for what allows you to amplify your light is actually all of those things that you established boundaries around, or why you established boundaries. So what kind of time do you need to have for yourself to spend within, to nurture within? What kind of space? How does your space need to be organized or set up, or what does it need to feel like? What types of activities are important to have in your daily life? For all of us, this is going to look a little bit differently. It may look like, health and fitness, and it may look like meditation. It may look like ceremony and ritual. It may look like going for a hike, or just simply sitting in a park or by some water. It may be sitting in meditation in your home. Know what your magic place is, what you're needing in order to bring your inner light into a place of expansion. Get to know what that is. And be prepared to know that what it is this week, today, this month, it will evolve. It will change and evolve and grow, because you're going to develop different facets of yourself at different times. And that is amazing. That's amazing. So letting yourself remain in the place of curiosity, asking the question, what empowers me to allow my light to shine? Yeah. Now, sometimes when we ask that question, we get a hit on something that maybe we need to do a little healing around. Do that work. It's time. No time better than the present. Sink in and do the healing work, and let yourself then expand. The other thing that I think is really important around amplifying our light is really having a sense of our own energy. Knowing where and when and how it becomes scattered, how and when we disengage and lose our sense of presence, and being able to call it back, being able to have a sense of mindfulness of what it feels like to be fully present within, and allowing our light to shine, allowing ourselves to be lit up and to light up the world around us. Now, I know there's a lot of cliched phrases around, lighting up the world around us and being the light and all that kind of stuff. And amidst all of those cliched phrases, there is the truth that you really are here to light up your world. And I think some of the confusion that has been around that was that being fully lit up meant fixing, helping, doing for other people. But actually, it's not about the reaching out. It's about actually holding the energy of the light and allowing that to fully live within you and to activate and inspire the light within others. Yeah, to hold that space, to activate it and inspire it. This is so important. This is so important. The minute we try to do this step in, and we disempower ourselves, and we disempower others. And really, when we hold our light and we really let it be brilliant, amazing conversations happen, like energy fires and awakens and is activated in powerful, potent ways. So, as we wind down this episode, I want to invite you to spend a bit of time amplifying your light. And if it feels aligned to you to go and get a piece of copper and work with that, copper pennies are fantastic. I believe 1978 maybe. The ratio is different, it changes. But get some copper, work with it. Notice how it lights you up. Create a little grid around yourself. Sit within it for meditation. How does it light you up? Let yourself come to life. All right, so with that, my sacred friend, I wish you an absolutely beautiful day. And I want to invite you to join me for an upcoming fall equinox ceremony. Yeah, I'll put the link down below and in the show notes, and I'd really love to see you there. This is an open community ceremony. We will be celebrating the harvest. We will be celebrating the energy of allowing our own light to really stand in the brilliance of what it is here to share with the world. All right, so with that, shine brightly, my friend, shine brightly. Bye for now.